Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into this amazing, really colorful evolutionary mystery. It's this high-stakes game of life, death, and, believe it or not, romance. And it's all happening in the tiny streams of Trinidad. So it all kicks off with a really simple puzzle. If you look at Trinidadian guppies, you'll see some males are just dazzling. I mean, covered in these vibrant orange spots. But then others, they're super plain, kind of drab. So what gives? Why the huge difference? And more importantly, why would any creature ever evolve to be a bright, swimming, eat-me sign? Well, it turns out the male guppy has a really tough choice to make. I mean, think about it. If you're one of the drab ones, you blend right in with the gravel. Awesome, right? Predators are going to have a hard time spotting you. The only problem? The female guppies basically ignore you. But if you're one of the dazzling, colorful ones, oh yeah, the females love you, but so do the predators. It's like the ultimate evolutionary trade-off. So this whole dilemma, it's really driven by two super powerful and competing forces in evolution. It's like this constant tug of war, pulling the guppy's fate in completely opposite directions. Let's break down exactly what those forces are. Okay, so first up, you've got the force we all learned about in school, natural selection. You know, survival of the fittest. It's pretty straightforward. In a place crawling with predators, guppies that are camouflaged are way more likely to live long enough to pass on their genes. For these little guys, blending in isn't some fashion statement. It's literally life or death.
But, and this is a big but, pulling in the complete opposite direction is this other force called sexual selection. This is all about the pressure to find a mate and, reproduce. I mean, it doesn't matter how long you survive if you never pass on your genes, right? And what the research shows is that female guppies, well, they almost always go for the flashiest males, the ones with more spots, brighter spots, the whole package.
And, this isn't some newfangled idea. We're talking Charles Darwin himself. He's the one who figured this out. He realized the struggle to just survive was only half the story. The struggle to attract a mate could be just as powerful, maybe even more so, in shaping a species. It's why we see things like a peacock's tail, these incredible traits that seem to completely defy the simple logic of survival. Okay, so how do these two forces actually balance out in the real world, in the wild? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look at the incredible work of a biologist named John Endler. Back in the 1970s, he basically turned the mountain streams of Trinidad into his own personal natural laboratory. So Endler, he goes from stream to stream, and he starts noticing these really fascinating patterns. He'd find some pools just teeming with predators, like this nasty fish called the pike cichlid. But then, maybe just a little ways upstream past a waterfall, he'd find other pools that were totally safe. And the one constant? No matter where he was, the female guppies always went for the colorful guys. And this is the cool part. He realized the male guppies looked dramatically different depending on which pool they lived in. And that's when Endler connected all the dots. He found this direct, clear relationship. In streams with a ton of predators, natural selection was king, and the male guppies were drab. It was all about camouflage. But in the streams with no predators, sexual selection completely took over, and the males were, well, they were absolutely fabulous.
Okay, this is where it gets really fun. To see this dynamic for ourselves, we don't actually have to book a flight to Trinidad. We can see these exact forces play out by running our own virtual experiment. It's a computer simulation based directly on everything Endler discovered. So in our little simulation, we get to play God, kind of. We can control the two big variables here. First, the number of predators we put in the pond, and second, how picky the females are about colorful spots. And what we're going to track is the big result of all this. What happens to the average number of spots on the male guppies, generation after generation?
All right, let's fire up the experiment. We're going to run two really extreme scenarios just to see how that balance of power between survival and, sex appeal really shifts. Okay, first up, a world of danger. We are loading our virtual pond with hungry pike cichlids. In this world, survival is absolutely everything. If you stand out, you get eaten. It's a death sentence. So we let the simulation run for 50 generations, and wow, the result is stark. The average number of spots just plummets. All the flashy males, they get eaten. The boring camouflaged ones are the ones who survive and pass on their drab genes. No question about it, natural selection absolutely dominates this round. All right, now let's completely flip the script. We're going to create a guppy paradise, a totally safe pond, zero predators. In this world, the only thing the males have to worry about is impressing the ladies. And just look at that difference. It's incredible. After 50 generations, the average number of spots has almost doubled. With no predators around, the most colorful, most attractive males get to mate the most, and they pass on those showy genes. This just perfectly shows you the explosive power of sexual selection when there's nothing holding it back. So, okay, we've seen natural selection pull one way and sexual selection yank things in the complete opposite direction. But what about the real world? Where both forces are always at play at the same time? Well, that's the real story. What this all shows us is that evolution isn't some straight line marching towards one single perfect version of an animal. For these guppies, and honestly for countless other species out there, it's this dynamic, ongoing balancing act, a compromise between totally conflicting pressures.
So the traits we actually end up seeing in nature, they're the result of this constant tug of war. You've got the need to survive, pushing for camouflage. You've got the need to reproduce, pushing for flashiness. And the environment itself, that's the ultimate referee. It's what decides which of those forces gets the final say.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This guppy's dilemma, this choice between being safe and being sexy, it's just one example we can see clearly. But this exact same kind of evolutionary compromise is playing out all over the animal kingdom. Think about the crazy songs of birds or the huge, clumsy antlers on a moose. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible balancing acts are shaping all the life that's all around us right now? Hey, if you thought this little dive into the drama of evolution was as fascinating as I did, do me a favor and give this explainer a like. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the amazing science that shapes our world. Thanks so much for watching.